had time to review the minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Or is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? All those in favor of adopting our minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Thank you, council. All right, let's get right into our business session. Well, Councilman Coward sent me an email and asked me to put on the agenda 2 items, and we're going to get into discussion. He wanted to discuss the 2 items, and I'm sorry, we should have brought some. No, we were going to have this kind of participation. We brought everybody an agenda, so you. But item number 1 on the agenda is a discussion of the closure of 10th Street Northeast to 18-wheelers. And I'm going to give the floor to Councilman Coward and let him.
All right. It's simply just to have a discussion about it. You guys may or may not want to do anything. 10th Street Northeast runs from 5 Points to the highway from Episcopal Church, 5 Points to Highway 18. It takes a beating from 18-wheelers. It is quite convenient to cut there, bypass having to go all the way around. Problem is, city streets aren't built quite like state highways are, and the city has historically had to spend a lot of resources, probably more so on that city street, and Wayne, you correct me if I'm wrong, than about any other city street in town. And so, I don't know what the answer is. I've had a couple of people, and one in particular that has brought this issue up, citizens several times, with respect to what we can do, whether it is just close it to commercial 18-wheelers, or if there's some other way to go about this. I appreciate you putting this in the packet, Mayor. You all have seen it better.
May I explain that before you
Go
go
ahead.
any further? In 2002, we had a discussion about the 10th Street, and we sent the Alabama Department of Transportation a letter requesting that they take over that street and maintain that street due to the stress and us having to repave it more than we do our other streets. And this is the letter. I put it in your packet, and the response was, no, we're not going to take over 10th Street, the State Highway Department. So you have that letter for your information. It's just for information purposes.
Right.
Okay, now I'm going to yield the floor back to you.
Okay. So anyway, I'm just curious whether, what city engineers' thoughts are, how it would impact, obviously, the police department, just people's, council's thoughts in general on addressing that.
Why don't we begin with, let's begin with the city engineer and the police chief, because I've discussed this with them too. I asked them to visit Alba to get their input too.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is not the first time this issue's brought up. Like I say, it was, I think we paid 10th Street 3 or 4 times, and we paid, some streets we haven't even paid since I've been here. And of course, especially there coming off the hill, down towards 5 Points, big trucks stopping and sliding, and dragging up. It causes that concrete, the asphalt break loose, and we get a lot of alligator in here and a lot of problems with the street. So, like I say, but once before we had went and said, well, I wonder if Aldott would go ahead and take that street since it is one of our designated truck routes. And of course, they declined. I did call and talk to 3 people from Aldott today. I talked to Brian Layton, who's our district engineer over, and he said if he was in our position, he would probably go ahead and close it to traffic as well. He said his one concern, this is part of what me and Dan talked about, was, I think one of the issues we brought up before is if we make all the traffic go along 43 and 18, we have a problem already there at the old city hall with some of the larger trucks trying to turn there. Of course, we have trucks that take that route now, but if we close 10th Street, then we would be directing all the traffic that way. But he indicated that they had looked at that in the past, and that, if y'all did that, it would probably put some pressure on improve that intersection, which we need to do anyway, but they would put even more pressure on that intersection. The mayor had asked me about the traffic volume, I don't think we've ever done a study to see the count number of trucks that really use that route, but, just from personal experience, I see a lot of trucks, especially, logging trucks and other things that do use that cutoff, so they don't have to go all the way through that thing. So I think it's a kind of a trade-off. I told the mayor today, I see the pros and cons of it both ways, You're gonna probably upset some of the truck traffic for sure, because they're used to using that route, and it is convenient for a lot of people. At the same time, it's gonna save us money, because we're taking heavy traffic off the street before it comes down. So, we either got two options: we can continue to pave it more regularly than we do other streets and try to keep it maintained, or we can take some of the traffic off of it and make them use the state highways, which are designed more for that kind of traffic.
Dwayne, I guess that was my concern. How often do we pave Tenth?
I think we've actually paved that area down through there, 3 times since I've been here. So, I've been with the city, 18 years now. So, but we have to pave it most of the time, every other time we pave almost. We have to do some work on that street.
So that's the good part of that, as far as closing that street, am I right?
Yeah, if we close it to that traffic and we enforced it, then we take that traffic off, and you probably wouldn't see as much abuse on it, so we wouldn't have to pay nearly so.
But the bad part about we sending all the traffic down
Through downtown.
downtown.
Yeah, they would be required, the way the ordinance currently reads, I think all our heavy truck traffic is supposed to stay on 43, 18, and then they allow 10th Street. They're not supposed to be on any other city streets unless they're making deliveries somewhere. So, that pretty well keeps the main through traffic on those streets. And, I guess we changed it, Dale, I guess we changed the ordinance just to take 10th Street off the street.
Do you actually think DOT would fix that intersection down at Chevron if we divert all the traffic down to them?
I don't know, I talked to Wallace McAdory this afternoon. I put a call into him, and he called me back a while ago, and I asked him that question, and he said they would look at a project if we need to. I think we need to try to do something regardless of we keep the traffic on off, because we get trucks through there, and Danny might speak to it more than I do. And we do have problems with hitting poles there on the corners, and we have, sometimes if you're parked there and the truck wants to turn, you almost have to back up in order to get room. But I think the problem Aldot's got is they used all the existing right of way they have there. So they'd have to look into some property acquisitions and other things to widen the street in order to do it. So it's not gonna be an easy matter project for them to do. And we all know how the state funding is right now, so, we've got other projects on their books that get in their 5-year plan, they get out of their 5-year plan, so I can't really answer that question.
The thing is, once they totally get up and running, they, a lot of those employees, gonna be
They're
right
used to
through there every day.
So I think we got a better shot now than we would have before the 2 million.
I have a question. When we pave that street, it is a half-mile long, and it's wider than most city streets. Do we pave the asphalt thicker on that street in anticipation of the heavy truck traffic?
Well, it's got some curves on it through there. So one time I actually had them build it all the way down, and that turned out to be pretty much successful. I thought we'd get a thicker layer and get it all the old asphalt out. When I did that, it's a little worse. We ended up having to come back and repave that same area within 6 months of the initial. So
That was counterproductive.
Yeah, that was counterproductive. Really, the only way to fix it and make it traffic, we'd have to dig it all out, put a heavier base under it. And, I can't just put more asphalt on top of it.
Just to repave it, ballpark figure, average price of asphalt, what does it cost the city to repave it by a half mile?
I have to check on that. Exactly. It's a lot of pavement, so.
It's a lot of pavement.
Yeah,
We can pave about,
15,000 plus.
we can pave several city streets for the money we spend on 10th Street, right?
That's true. The money we're taking to spend on that, we can put elsewhere if we
The
we're paying.
light poles and stuff down there, go see how they're on
Well, you know, part of them are street light system, or traffic lights. So, Alabama Power does have part of them, but part of them are there because of the street light system,
It's our traffic.
which will be our traffic lights. They're folding, you know, they put those up, but then we pay for the maintenance and everything. We pay for the lights once they're up and going. So I'd say it's kind of a joint thing between the city, Alabama Power, I think has a couple of.
Not like I'm putting a tire something up, and the city and the Alabama Fire, go together and fix it, or.
We do, or we usually charge the truck driver right to tear it down.
That's right.
If we can find the truck.
Yeah, if they
The
get
last
it.
rate we had, the last poll was up here though, we had, it's coming out 10th Street. How much that cost us?
Oh,
That's just been
that's-
our insurance.
Yeah, they tore down the whole
Yeah.
light system.
They tore it down twice in a period of 2 or 3 months.
That's right.
At the old jack.
The old jack. Yeah, but it's not inexpensive when we do that.
So
That-
trucks turning either place are a problem,
That's correct.
whether it's the old jacks or the old city hall.
That's right. Yeah, we have had some problems there at Jack's, but it was about turning there as well. But they used, the one they tore up, that pole was actually beside the Southern Center there. So that guy had rolled around into the parking lot and tried to come back out, which is not normally what they usually do. And, other guy did was when they were doing all that locking down, locking down.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Chief Jenkins, do you have any comments?
I couldn't hear everything that Wayne was saying.
I guess we need to speak up. Can you hear us?
Well, that was by the air exchanger back there. You know, it'll solve one problem, but usually when you solve one, you create another. The only problem I have is with the traffic flow there, and I think we talked about this a year or so ago. Any of y'all that's driven that area, if you've ever been stopped facing east, you've had to back up for a truck to turn, to go east. You know, I agree that.
Columbus Street?
Yes, sir, on Columbus Street there at the old City Hall intersection. It's just really tight there. Trucks that are southbound making a left, they've got a couple extra lanes to work with if they're going, you know, if they're going east. But, as far as the ones going back towards 96, it's just really a problem. But, and I think the pole that always gets hit, I think they've moved that as far back as they can move it without getting on the property owner's land. That'd be something Aldott would have to address, I guess, but I think they did tell Dwayne, I think I heard you say this, that if we do restrict that traffic on 10th Street, that it would kind of put the heat on them to go ahead and do some improvements on that intersection. So we need that. But the poles that they've moved back already still get hit. So,
You have a recommendation?
you know, from a traffic standpoint, it's smooth now. We don't have, you know, we had the situation you talked about, Jason, at Jack's, where the guy snagged the guy wire and pulled the whole thing down. So, I mean, we've got problems at both intersections, no doubt. I would suppose that once everyone got used to the change, everything would be like it is now. You are gonna, for all intents and purposes, open the truck traffic at that intersection, because you're cutting the only other option they have out. So,
Danny, that machine we got now, would it count the truck, number of trucks that's using that?
it will not, but Aldott can. The system that we have will not do that, but Aldott's will.
Reckon we can do some kind of study on how many trucks we're really
We could get up with
using
Brian
it for, say, a week or two, or a month or something?
Down here or at
10th Street.
We can do that. Give you a little more information to work with anyway.
I think so too, that we need that information, and to go back, because Bob has talked to the highway department today too, and they are out of right-of-way property down there at the Chevron down that way. I mean, there's not a whole lot, and there's nothing on the books now for a project for them to do, which it might force them to do something, but like I said, money is short, it could be a long time down the road, and
Well, the problem with that intersection just didn't come about overnight. It's always been there, and, you know,
And if we do close that other street, I wanted to be clear that we still need to be able to let, like, the county trucks, the low boys, the equipment, the city, all that will have to have access to that road, or they're not gonna be able to get their equipment to where they need it to go.
Well,
We
my
might
thinking
close it to,
on this is 18-wheelers and logging trucks. I mean, it's not, doesn't say logging trucks, but I think logging trucks need to be included.
Well, I think one option that was kicked out was, weight restriction for 10th Street as an option to closing it. But we have no way to enforce that. We don't have the equipment to deal with that. And, but you know, if you do close 10th Street, in my understanding, we're talking about from 18 all the way to the 4-lane, right? Not just that block at the old Jacks. Am I right or wrong?
We're talking about from
All the
Old
way
Jacks
to-
all the way to Albert Grimson's house.
Okay, right. Oh, so like I said, we don't have any way to enforce the weight restriction. But, and we've always had these two options, but once we're all creatures of habit, once we get used to the one, I think it would be fine. Just be a matter of enduring it until we can get used to it.
Well, I would recommend, council, that we let the chief and the engineer get with AlDOT, and if they've got the equipment, let's do a traffic study for those heavy trucks. And how long would that take, do you anticipate? 2 weeks?
It just depends on the availability of their equipment and how long you'll run the test. I would recommend running it for 2 weeks at least, so you get a good study.
Well,
As far as logging trucks, I think in the winter months be kind of tough because they don't do a lot of logging during the wet months.
They don't. But I mean, you know, you can, Ms. Lynn was talking about the trucks the city and county uses, they don't use the 18-wheelers, so
No.
just restrict it to the log trucks or 10 or more wheels, whatever, 18-wheelers. That might be an option for you as well. But I would recommend doing at least a 2-week study, so we get a good basis for your
If
decision.
they let us have the equipment to do a month-long study, if they would turn it loose that long.
Well, I would think the more information they have, the better equipped they are to make the decision on what they need to do with that intersection.
And they'll know if we did close it, how much
Traffic can be thrown on them.
throw it on them.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, I think we've discussed this, and Chief, you and Wayne will get with AlDOT, and we can bring this back up. When you get through with the study, get your report ready, we'll put it on the council agenda. I would say y'all be able to do that first meeting in January, or sooner, just depending on when they can get that done. All right, item number 2 on this, the agenda is a discussion at-large voting boards. Councilman Coward has asked for this to be put on the agenda, and I'm going to give the floor to him.
Good deal. I won't take a minute, and I'm not asking for a vote on anything, just to have a discussion. But so I won't ramble, I jotted me a few notes to make this make sense. According to a report released from the Alabama League of Municipalities relating to next year's municipal elections, the mayor, council, cities, and towns may determine whether council members are elected from wards or from the municipality at large. First, what do at-large council places mean? Simply put, you and I, the voter, are able to cast our ballot on each council race in the city as opposed to one district, or as we call them in Fayette, wards. Instead of having Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and only being able to vote on the council race in the wards you live, you would have place 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you'd be able to vote on each race. As a prospective candidate, when declaring to run, you would simply state which place you would like to run for. The idea behind making this perspective change is it allows an opportunity for the citizens to encourage the best citizens we have amongst us to step forward in the opportunity to theoretically be able to have the best 5 candidates lead our city, regardless of where they might live in the municipality. Why now? Is anybody else doing this now? One of the things that has made the small city of Fayette unique is it has been a trendsetter many times and is what has set her apart from contemporaries through the years. I would challenge everyone to go to any similarly situated sized city and find a city park of comparison. Trendsetter. A leaf truck to pick up what you break. That is virtually unheard of in small cities our size. Trendsetter. Spending resources and time to totally revitalize your downtown. Why in the world would you do that is what you would hear in most cities our size. The results from that effort of forward thinking are very noticeable, as once empty storefronts are now engaged in commerce. Trendsetter. Draft beer availability. No one else is doing that around Fayette. Fayette is. Trendsetter. Rural hospital financial struggles. While many our size wait on answered prayers for their health care system, Fayette utilized one resource the good Lord gave us, our rational brain, to take it upon ourselves to help ensure we have sustainable access to care going forward. Trendsetter. Fayette's very unique as well. Unique in the diversity of religious bodies, from Assembly of God to Church of God to Church of Christ, Free Will to Primitive to Southern Baptist, Catholic to Episcopal to Methodist, Latter-day Saints, Jehovah's Witness. I could go on and on. Think about that kind of diversity in any other similarly situated sized city from here to the Tennessee state line. It's not there. Uniqueness in the unprecedented supply of not only folk art, but the enormous amounts of high quality folk artists who live in this city. Unique by far. I say all of this to show that when questions of why are asked, Fayette has historically answered with why not. And is one of the main reasons this small hamlet in West Alabama has had so much success through the years. Are you disheartened when obvious potential is not utilized? As an analogy, since this is football season, if your favorite college football team won a respectable 8 games this year, is that good enough for you as a supporter, or would you prefer to win 9 or 10 if your team had the obvious potential to do it? If 2 industries were recruited by your city, but you felt the potential's there to recruit 5, would you prefer it? If your child brings home an all-B report card, but you know the obvious potential was there to bring home all A's, would you prefer it? Or would you use your parental skills to ensure your child is reaching their potential? It's time to unchain the electoral spirit from artificial ward boundaries and limiting our potential as a city and those who might be best among us able to serve. At that moment, the voters of the city will be fully enfranchised and have a more complete say with their vote as it relates to those who manage city affairs. There's an old adage that says if it's not broken, don't fix it. I submit if something's not broken, why would one be talking about fixing it to begin with? It's a pretty asinine statement if you think about it. How about if it's not broken, fine? But what can we do to ensure what is unbroken remains that way? And what if we can make the unbroken piece stronger going forward? Reducing the percentage that it can even be broken to begin with. Now think a minute how sweet that would sound coming from the mouth of your favorite team's coach at a press conference, referencing his program. Now apply that thought process to your family, to your job, perhaps, maybe your government. That's what this is all about. Making Fayette's historically good municipal system even better. Not only now, but more importantly for future generations who will call this special place home, for the decisions that we make today ultimately affect outcomes tomorrow. Now, one of the cool things, I said cool, didn't I? One of the cool things is about policy and discussing policy is, I recognize this, I'm not asking for a vote on this tonight, merely a discussion. We need to be having discussions. We need to be having discussions about a lot of things. We have a great city and people that love the city. But we always need to be thinking about, what can we do to make things better as well. Some things might pass, some things not. It's just an idea to think about, to ponder over. And when I brought this up, this is merely my reasoning of why. Where does this come from? And that's where it comes from. I think about 2 gentlemen, not me, might live next to each other in this city that would be excellent council people. Not that either would run, but they certainly wouldn't run against each other. So the idea is getting the best, and being able to get the best. And that may include the rest of you, it may not include me, and that's fine. But it's just an idea, and I thought I'd lay it on the table for discussion. May hate it, may not, but I lay that idea forward, just to think about and gauge what you think about that. I'm done, Mayor. Thank you.
I have a comment. I agree with Councilman Coward on a lot of the reasons that he stated. I'm not going to be nearly as eloquent as he. By drawing artificial boundaries and making people run in the ward in which they live, we're probably not getting the best qualified people that would like to run for city council. If a council member has been elected 3, 4, 5 times in his ward, he's very hard to beat. And there may be a block down the street from where he lives, a eminently qualified person. We need the best qualified people on the city council, and again, it's probably not me. But that doesn't matter. When I serve all the citizens of this town, and I take pride in doing that. They don't care which ward I represent. If they see me, they tell me about their problems or their concerns. Some of them even call me. They come to the courthouse and talk to me when I'm on my part-time job. And I don't send them away because they don't live in Ward 2. I try to take care of their problem. I'll tell them I'll see what I can find out about that, and I'll get back with you. Now, I have had council members of this council, when a citizen comes to them about a problem, the first thing they ask is, where do you live? And then they call me and say, hey, Mike, you got this citizen in your ward with such and such a problem, being a dog or a stop sign or whatever. Of course, I'm glad to call them and see if I can help them. But on the other hand, shouldn't we all be serving every citizen in Fayette when we can? I mean, I represent the city of Fayette, not just Ward 2. And that's basically my logic. I think we would get the most qualified people, and we would truly represent all the citizens of Fayette. And I'd love to run the next election citywide. If we make changes, nobody stated this, but the deadline is February the 23rd. That is one of the reasons why we were insistent that we start this conversation as soon as possible. We have 2 months. And that's fine.
All right, more discussion?
Well,
I'd like to go.
feel
May I
that,
go first?
okay.
Okay, I've been on this council 16 years. This is my 16th year. I think we've got some great leadership on this council. And all those things that Councilman Cowart mentioned were achieved probably within the last 16, 20 years. We had Mayor Bobo, we had Mayor Maherd, and then I'm serving as mayor. And we've had a minority district that has worked well. There's a black community here that I believe is a strong black community that there's just as good leadership in that minority district as there is in any other. I think, I mean, they vote for the best, and I would be opposed to that. That's just my opinion.
I ain't gonna get into a whole lot, because I'm very passionate when it comes to this. You know, basically this started back in 1988. It was a lawsuit, Hillier versus Crenshaw County. And that lawyers caused that lawsuit. Basically because they didn't have no minorities on the commission. And the only way they could do that was a lawsuit and saying voting at large was discriminating. It ain't no doubt about that, it is. And I'm not surprised that this discussion came up. I'm not surprised. But what I am surprised about is the one who bought it up. That's what I'm surprised at. You know, and if it failed this time, I'm pretty sure a individual of council would get mad and let's bring it up again. But as Councilor Horton said, it got to be done by February the 23rd. Again, I'm very passionate about this, and I think if I say too much, I get aggravated and say things that I don't need to say. But let me just say it in a few words. I definitely oppose at-large voting. That's my say. And you know what's so interesting about this? This came on the heels of Rosa Parks' 60th anniversary. Decided she was tired of sitting in the back. She wanted to take a front seat. This is basically what all this is about. We don't want, wait a minute, I'm gonna go back. He said we need to move forward. At-large voting, ladies and gentlemen, is moving back. There ain't no doubt about that. Any way you look at it. And there will always be somebody or someone that don't want the presence of a minority sitting on this council. You better believe that. I'm just saying that. And again, I oppose this. And
That's fair.
and that's all I gotta say
That's
right
fair.
now. Mind you, Crystal, this needs to be in the paper on the front page, not the back page. And after the meeting, I need to discuss a few things more with you about this. And let me say this also, you know, I get passionate about this. The Department of Justice gutted Section 5 of the Civil Rights Voting Act, 2013. An individual asked me, said, "Say, did you hear about it?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "I don't think that it would happen in Fayette City Council." I said, "Well, you know, I don't want to talk about that because I'm passionate about that," so we did. But lo and behold, what's the date? December 1st, 2015, the individual brought it up. I don't know why, don't have a clue. But he did all the reason why, qualified. He said he got qualified. If a person wanted to run, regardless where, he would run. What qualifies a person to run, to me, I think is money. Give him a little bit more money, you'll find what you say is qualified folks. But again, I'm saying my piece.
Do you want to speak?
Okay, yeah.
That's
I think years and years ago, maybe in the early 80s, that's the way the council was set up, that you ran at large. Because I remember running at large at that time. And the way it's set up now, I think we have more equal representation. And I'm for every citizen in the city of Fayette, not just the people in my ward. Anybody has a problem, they come to me, I see about it. It doesn't matter where you live. And I have a lot of people in other wards, and I don't direct them to that person. I try to just do whatever. And I just want to make that clear. I think Cedric's done a good job representing his ward, as the other council have. And I'm opposed to citywide.
That's fine.
I have a comment.
Okay, I'm gonna give the floor to Councilman Cowell.
No.
Go ahead, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
In doing some research the last couple of days for the item about which I'm going to speak, I did contact a number of cities in North Alabama, most of whom are larger than us. And one of the questions I asked them, do your council members run by wards or districts or at large? We compare ourselves a lot with Hamilton, Winfield, and Haleville. Council members in Hamilton run at large, the council members in Winfield run at large, the council members in Haleville run at large. The council members in Hartselle, population 14,255, run at large. The council members in Albertville, population 21,160, running large. Population of the council members in Boaz, population 9,551, running large. And Arab, population 8,050, running large. And that's just a sampling of the cities. So we're not asking the council to consider anything that's not already done in a lot of other.
Mike,
That's
wait a
other
minute.
cities, that's not Fayette.
Mike, you made mention to those cities that you are talking about. You never said the percentage of the minority that lives in that city.
I don't-
And it basically, when you want to do this, if you got enough percentage in that city, yes, I can see you running in one. But if not, no. That 14% up, as you got your minority, that's when you start trying to get district.
Well, Cedric, you're probably more well-versed on the Voting Rights Act and all, and because I will confess, I have been colorblind to all this. I do not care about what color persons sit on this city council. And I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but race is not a concern to me. I want the best 5 people up here regardless of what color they are.
Like when you say race is not a concern with you, but let me say it. When you vote at large, that is race, basically. It's based on that.
It doesn't have to
Subverting
be.
the black vote.
Hold on.
Now.
Hold on. Oh, we're getting out of order. Now.
I'm sorry, man.
Do you have anything else, Councilman Wilson?
I'm
Sorry, Councilman.
You said that.
Councilman.
No, sir, I'm through.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm good.
Do you have any discussion? Okay. Do you-
Last
do
comment.
you want-
No, last
All
comment. Last comment. With respect to everyone on the council and everybody here, and everybody at home, and everybody that reads, I never intent was to get off into anything like that. I was born in 1976. I'm of a generation that some of this that we're getting into doesn't matter. So, my reasoning for it was genuinely humble. I know it has probably no chance of passing. That's fine. That's fine. It's just an idea, though. And that's what this democratic republic is all about, whether it's your city legislative body, your county, your state, your federal. Just talk about it. Talk about it. You're not always going to agree. And the framers, when they made this country, created it to make it hard to pass stuff for a purpose. It's supposed to be hard to get things passed. We look to Washington a lot and think they don't get anything done. They don't a lot of times. And one reason is it was set up to be like that. So just wanted to have the discussion. And if it didn't go anywhere, that's fine. So I'm done.
All right, let's go to item 3, discussion. Councilman Harden has.
Mayor, can I say something?
Yes, sir, you got the floor.
Because there's been all this discussion, I just wanted to, and because it's gonna be go in the paper, wanted to make sure that it was clear on how the city of Fayette arrived at having to vote by districts. The city of Fayette was involved in the lawsuit. The city of Fayette entered into a consent. In other words, the lawsuit alleged that the city of Fayette voting at large violated the Voting Rights Act, Section 2. In that, at large voting diluted, I'm using my diluted voting. City of Fayette was added into that Crenshaw County, the Dillard versus Crenshaw County lawsuit. The federal district court, the city of Fayette, and the plaintiffs and the federal district court entered into a consent decree whereby the city of Fayette was enjoined from having an at-large election. That the city would have to have their elections according to wards. And those wards were approved by the federal district court. And then as the census has changed, before they ended or overturned the pre-clearance section, you know, the city of Fayette had to have the wards pre-cleared when they were redefined. So that's how the city of Fayette arrived at having to vote by districts instead of at large. So I just wanted to.
Okay. Are you finished?
Please bring up the Supreme Court decision in 2013.
Okay, that was Shelby County versus Department of Justice. That was, what happened there is they had set up certain states and then counties and other, counties and other states, but the states weren't included, they used facts and figures from 1960s, 64, 65, to say that those entities, states, counties, had to comply with pre-clearance. And that was section 4 where it set up the model. Section 5 is pre-clearance. What the Supreme Court said was they weren't doing anything to section 2. That guarantees the right to vote and not be affected by race. But what they did was say that section 4, the formula that was used to say who had to be pre-cleared was unconstitutional because it was using facts that were true maybe in the early to mid 1960s, but not in fact now. And you were treating states differently. In other words, if you were in Alabama, you had to have any change in your election rules pre-cleared by the Department of Justice. If you lived in, just pick one, Minnesota, you didn't. So what effectively has happened, the reason you don't have to have anything pre-cleared at this point is because they haven't set the new parameters for establishing who has to have things pre-cleared. But it didn't change, and the Supreme Court says that, starting out, not changing section 2. And section 2 was what all the counties in all the, not all the counties, but like Fayette County and the city of Fayette, in particular, that's what the suit was brought over, is that it violated section 2, the at-large of the voting rights.
It's all a mute point anyway. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Sorry to put you on the spot. So it's a mute point anyway?
I'm not saying it's a moot point, because you have had communities vote to do it, but then, you know, you've already, the district court, in other words, you may have had a community or two vote to go to at large. But what that does is, with pre-clearance being out, now you seek to enforce under section 2, just like they did before. So you change, you go into federal court, plaintiffs would, to enforce under section 2. And what happens is they enforce it and you pay their.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to get in, no, I wouldn't do anything to get into all that.
But I just wanted
Okay, thank you, Dave. All right, let's get to item 3 again, changing of election ordinance. Councilman Harden, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I won't be as eloquent as Councilman Cowart, and I probably won't be as long. But this is a matter that, again, that is necessary that we address now because of the February 23rd deadline. If the city council is going to make any changes to and how the following city council after next year's election is constructed, whether by ward or by at-large or salary structure, compensation, we have to do it by February the 23rd. I have been on this council for 7 years. From the before, even when I ran unopposed, I started hearing from people, various times, that they were dissatisfied with the change that was made in the year 2000 in ordinance number 2000-01, I believe. I looked at it yesterday. Setting the mayor's salary at $42,000 a year and the council member's salary at $7,200 a year. A lot of these people thought that was too high. And I guess it especially was too high in the year 2000 for a lot of people. They also changed that ordinance and added a sentence when they adjusted the salary that said about the mayor's position, this is a full-time position. I'm paraphrasing, but it's just very few words. In talking yesterday with the League of Municipalities and the clerks and some mayors, actually, when I spent the day making telephone calls, the League of Municipalities attorney told me that in no uncertain terms that regardless of what you put in the ordinance, by law, you cannot legislate the hours that the mayor works. The mayor can be full-time, 60 hours a week, and he can get paid $10,000 a year or $100,000 a year. He sets his own hours. I talked to the mayor of Halo yesterday. He classifies himself as part-time. He gets paid $12,000 a year, $1,000 a month, but he said he's there at 6 o'clock in the morning and generally goes home 6 o'clock in the evening. He sets his own hours. So it doesn't matter whether we say our mayor is full-time or part-time. I got into this at a lot of the places. Well, we call ourselves part-time, but the mayor's here all day long, and I heard the reverse. Mainly it's about compensation. And compensation is important because we have a situation right now where the salary is good enough. It is very attractive to a retired person like me and the mayor and David. But it's not enough for a young, thriving leader in this community, a business owner, an up-and-comer that is supporting the family, has got 2 kids in school. He can't give up his full-time job to be a, quote, full-time mayor, according to our ordinance. But if we would recognize the fact and modify our ordinance and take that phrase out of there, the mayor could set his own hours. And a businessman who had a full-time job, just like Wayne Maherg did when he was mayor, could run City Hall 4 hours a day, work at his job 4 hours a day or 6 hours a day or whatever he wanted to. It's something we need to consider. I've had some people say, well, we ought to cut the salary in half, and that was what I put in the letter, the email to the mayor. It's just a rough guideline. Cut the salary in half, make it part-time. Cut the city council salary in half. We get well paid on this city council. We get paid twice as much as city council members in Hamilton, and they have a population of 6,885 compared to our 4,619. We get what better paid than, or is it the same pay as the Jasper City Council? Jasper's 15,000 people. We get well paid. I would like to see us seriously consider cutting the mayor's salary in half and making it whatever job it wants to be, cutting the city councilman's salary in half, from $600 to $300 a month, taking every bit of that money, hiring us a city manager to run the day-to-day dog calls, citizen complaints about city services, and let our mayor be out and about representing the city, as he so ably does right now in all sorts of meetings all over the state, and free him from that desk at City Hall. We already have Dwayne Roby, who is in actuality a lot of a city manager right now for us, as well as the engineer and as well as the street department superintendent. Dwayne wears at least 3 hats and does an outstanding job. Relieve him of the street department job, promote somebody down there. Dwayne is well paid to be city engineer, and the street department job, transfer that pay to city manager. Free the mayor up to not work as much, not be in City Hall as much. And the citizens are well served. This will allow at the next election more really qualified people, if they want to run for mayor. And I'm not going to mention names, but I have had several names mentioned to me, and I have talked to some of these people in the last 7 years, and they say, Mike, I can't consider it because it would be too big a cut in pay. I wouldn't have health care insurance, I wouldn't have retirement, and the mayor right now does not have health care or retirement. We can modify our election law to include the mayor in the health care system and the state retirement. Of course, he's already drawing state retirement. I don't think he can do that, but we could do that and get a better qualified slate of candidates who wants to be our mayor. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm asking for the city council to think about this. I am not asking for a vote tonight or at the next meeting, but the deadline, if we want to adjust the salary, the mayor, the salary of the council, anything like what we want to do about that, we have to do it before February the 23rd. And I would love to see us strike that sentence, this is a full-time job, describing the mayor's position.
You haven't been out recruiting, have you? Okay, let me speak. Jerry Bobo was elected mayor in 1992. And he was a part-time mayor, received part-time pay. And I talked with Jerry, and Jerry said he started planting the seeds to have a full-time mayor, because he says it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that he was responsible. And he said the job obligated him to 24 hours a day. He even mentioned about being out at 2 o'clock in the morning and with a sewer problem. And I've had my share of that. Dwayne can tell you I've had my share of that. So he told me he started planting the seeds for that. Then I talked to Mayor Mahert, who was part-time. And I asked Mayor Mahert to give me some comments about his position. And he said he worked a minimum of 50 hours per week. And at the end of his term, what you were talking about is when the city council voted to have a full-time mayor with no insurance, no retirement, no car. But at that time, they felt like that this city needed a full-time mayor. And what I'd like to know, Councilman Harden, is before the 2012 election, when you were elected your second term, why didn't you make that request then?
Because I knew it didn't have a Chinaman's chance of passing. We've had one change from the previous council, and it still doesn't have a Chinaman's chance of passing. But I am obligated for all the citizens that have asked me to bring this up. I have brought it up, and you can consider it.
All right, I have another question to ask you. When we went through our cost reduction plan, recession in 2009, all of you remember how tough it was. We had to eliminate 4 employees. At that time, why didn't you recommend that we voluntarily, all of us,
I think that discussion was had.
I don't remember that.
I remember that discussion was had.
Okay, well, I don't remember. I guess we'll have to go back and check the minutes on that.
Well, I don't know if it was had in an official meeting, but it was had in a work session, for certain.
Well, we take minutes at work session.
Well, all right, go search your minutes.
I'm not gonna search it, but, that's all I've got to say, you know. Let the people of this community,
Mayor,
If
could
they
I say
think-
one thing?
Yeah.
How many other councilmen have had people to come to them with this to cut the pay in half?
Not me.
Not me.
In fact, I'll share this, Mike, with you. I have had several people bring this up to me when I first ran. I wasn't on the council during the cost reduction years. In fact, when I ran for this seat, I didn't even know what the job paid until I went by the mailbox after the first month and got my mail. And that's a fact. That being said, if you don't mind, I'm gonna share it, Mayor. I stopped and saw the mayor about a month ago.
yeah, I was gonna ask you
Yeah,
if
I-
you
I-
remember
I-
that
yeah, I'm gonna
conversation.
have it. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like you to share that.
And I had several people bring this up to me. It is not 1950 anymore. There's a lot of things that changed, a lot more rules and regs, if you will. And I said, if the job, I've been talked to by a lot of people about this. And I've thought about it a lot. And it is, I guess it can be as consuming as you allow it to be consuming. It was a consuming job. To remain full-time, I would actually, what I told the mayor, and I stand by it, I would be willing to cut pay at the city council and add some money to the mayor's salary. Now, on the flip side of that, if the votes were here to go and change it the way Councilman Hart is talking about, I would go along with that as long as there was a manager-type person in place to handle the pothole calls and certain, that are important. They're important because that's what city government does. I understand that. But to allow the mayor to be freed up to spend 100% of his time, not that he does it now, but selling the city. And this is nothing about, I want to say this, if I'm hearing right, I'll go on record right now, and I've said this before, although we don't agree on everything all the time, and nobody ever does, my wife and I don't agree on everything all the time, that's an understatement. I don't know of anybody other than Ray Nelson who loves the city any more than he does. But this discussion, whether it's what I brought up or Mike brought up, is not really about right now. Okay? It's about forward, looking down the road. I've said this many times. Of course, I kidded Cedric one time about it. I can tell you, it won't be many. I may not even be here a year from now, much less 5 years from now or 10. My sole purpose in doing this is because I love this city, and I grew up in a town that I love, but because of some decisions or lack thereof, when I was a child and shortly before I was born, are reaping the unrewards of some decisions that were made. Of course, rural America's struggling anyway. I get that. Fayette's been very blessed even through all this. And I've never forgotten that, and I don't want my kids 20 and 30 years from now to look back and say, gee, I wish I could move home, but I can't. Because with all due respect, and I'm not naming and all that because you're good people in every town, but sometimes you get situations where places have kind of turned into ghost towns and there is nothing to go back to. There's been a lot of good decisions made, so I explained to the mayor the other day, I have no problem in keeping it like it is. But the idea is, either way, one of the things have to be done looking forward, and that's to make things attractive. okay, to make it attractive. This has nothing to do with what he's talking about. The way I would think about this has nothing to do with Ray Nelson, because I have a lot of respect for Ray Nelson, Mayor Ray Nelson. But that being said, let's look 5, 10 years down the road. Cedric may be up here and the rest of them, but this is not my seat. I don't own this seat. I never intended on. I don't think of it as mine. This is your seat. This is people Ward 3 seat. And I will tell you, I'm going to break a myth. I'll break a myth. Now, there's a myth out there. I've talked to people before, good people even in Ward 3 since I've been on this council, and I thought I saw them come in. They may be gone. Mr. Jeans did I see that? I've told my name, Mr. Jeans there. There would be a finer person in Fayette, Alabama than John Jeans to sit right here. I'm telling you, that's as fine a human being as you'll meet. But a lot of people, I've even told that too in my ward that you would be a good council person. You'd be a lot better than I would be. But so I wouldn't have it. Well, why not? Well, I don't want to get the calls, and I don't want to get the calls about potholes and dead dogs and things of that nature. But quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I rarely get those kind of calls. It's not what people think. Yeah, so I would have no problem in certainly you want to make it attractive for people to step forward, but at the same time, and Mike handed out some information here as compared to some other cities, as it especially comes to council pay, it could probably be looked at, and that's something you don't see most of the time. Birmingham City Council did a roundabout, and people were out in the hall and bumped their pay up. I can't remember how many percentage points. 75%. It seems like everything in government goes up, taxes go up. It happened. We kind of got in a situation this last year where we did some temporary taxation. Sometimes that happens. But rarely do things come down. And so I think it's fair, especially the council pay. The mayor, I would be in favor of adding more to that. If we're going to keep it the way it is, to make it attractive going forward down the road. If not, if we want to go another direction, I would be willing to go in that direction with some infrastructure in place, like if you were going to have a city manager type person. So you're not, no one would do it without, if you're going to do it part-time, no one would do it if you didn't have a city manager. I mean, it would be very, very difficult. You'd really just have to be doing it because you really, really, really love this place. So, I was going to tell that, and I said that. And I stand by that. But depending on the will of the council, if they want to go the other direction, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but having some controls in place that would actually make it where it actually is part-time, if you will, and have my city manager type places. And I've had that brought up to me before, but I'll be quiet now.
I won't make it. I won't make it. Okay.
I just want to make sure I understood what you said when you came into my office, that you thought the mayor's pay should be increased and the council's pay should be decreased.
That's exactly right. Go on that. Now.
Okay, all right, wait a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Flow.
Okay.
And I want to say something about John James.
Yes, sir.
I recognize talent.
Oh, no, I
I recognize leadership.
That's right.
And John Jeans is the head of our Economic Development Advisory Board. And he's doing a great job in that position. And I'm glad that I can recognize that and ask him to serve, and he's willing to serve because he loves this community just like I love this community. And, all right,
Yeah.
all right, you got the floor.
All right. Now, if we ever voted on my proposal to cut it in half, and I was still strongly recommend we cut the councilman pay in half. But if we did not approve a cut in the mayor's salary, my next plan was exactly what Councilman Coward and the mayor talked about. I would like for us to consider raising the mayor's salary to $60,000 a year and including health benefits and retirement benefits if desired. We can by law do that. We have to do that before February the 23rd. Again, my motivation is to get the best possible people interested in being the mayor of Fayette. Not only next year, but 4 years from now, 12 years from, 8 years from now, 12 years from now. If we don't want to cut it in half and hire a city manager and delegate that authority, then I think we need to raise it to at least $60,000 a year and add health benefits and retirement benefits.
Matt, he did mention council, so I think I want to say a few words about that. I'm gonna let Dale go, cause he got something else to do.
No, it's
Dale,
okay.
he said cut the councilman, in half.
$300 a month.
This word been used basically all night. Qualified folks. Been used all night. Who in the world you think you're gonna get for $300 a month? Hello?
I would be right here for $1 a month. And you debate whether I'm qualified or not all night long. But I do this job from the civic pride and obligation.
I'm not arguing what you would do. I'm not arguing that. It's just the word that been used all night, best qualified folks. You won't get folks for $300 a month, other than you. And I guess that's my point, and I'm through with that.
Mayor, can I say something?
Wait a minute, did you?
No, I apologize for interrupting him. I should have held my tongue.
Okay, I listened to both discussions. I wanted to wait before I made my comment. I am totally against the changing the ordinance for the election. And I'm totally against any changes on the salary and them going with part-time with the mayor.
Or is there any more discussion? I think we've discussed this. Let's go to item number 4. Chief Ellis, would you come forward? Council, you have a recommendation. I can let him explain it to you. You have a recommendation. And I'm gonna let him explain the procedures he's been through to replace a fireman that we lost, Greg Hubbard. And he is ready to make a recommendation to you.
All right, yeah, as everybody knows, we had an opening, and we started the weekend in October 23rd. Went through our hiring process. We posted the job internally within the city of Fayette, and then we ran an ad in the Times Record ended November the 6th, advertising for applications. And we got I got no applications internally from the city. And I got a few applications when we advertised it. Of course, I had some applications and all. And after reviewing all the applications that we got, I'm ready. I wanted to recommend Tyler Hayes for the position of firefighter. He's worked for the city of Fayette for 3 years in the aquatic center as a lifeguard. He's been a volunteer for a little over 2 years now with us at the fire department. And Tyler has he's met all the, participated in all the recommended training that we've had, as you see in my letter here. He's shown exemplary performance during that time. He's a fine young man. He's got high integrity and high moral. He would be a good fit for our department. He's already done some things on his own. We would have to send him to fire college. It'd be a team of 10 weeks. We'd have to send him down there and get certified firefighter 1. He's already done some training on his own that he's certified for too also. So my recommendation is for us to hire Tyler Hayes. And I'd like to start him Saturday.
Okay, we need council, I would go along with this recommendation, but we need the consent of the council. Can I get a motion? Motion, is there a second? Second, all right, all those in favor of consent, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, council. All right, let's vote now. I'm going along with the chief's recommendation. I'd like to hire Tyler Hayes into this position as fireman. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, a second.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor of hiring Tyler and putting him to work Saturday.
Saturday, please.
All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. All right, that was unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all, I appreciate it.
Item number 5, council, we did this last year. It's a tax holiday, 2016 severe weather preparedness tax holiday, which is scheduled for February the 26th through the 28th. And the deadline on this is coming up pretty quick, January the 26th. And I'm asking you, what is your pleasure? Do you want to participate? Now, we participate in the school tax holiday, and we also participated in this severe weather preparedness tax holiday.
I think it's equal as important. I think we should commit to it.
I do
You want to put that in the form of a
So
motion?
move.
Motion and a second.
Second.
There's any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. All right, the motion carries. I'm going to ask the city clerk if she will, well, I asked Dale to put that in the form of a resolution that we'll have to have at our next meeting.
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay, and then we're to notify, Ms. Clapp, we need to notify the Department of Revenue. Item number 6, we have one permit for the 13th day of February. And this is asking, I didn't have time to check with the chief and let him look at this. The Fayette Medical Center Auxiliary President Jane Cotton is having some type of event up here, close off temple in front of Civic Center for vendors for emergency preparedness event. Has that been discussed with you? Okay, for emergency preparedness event.
We got time for,
Tony?
Tony?
I don't know anything about closing the street off, but February,
13th.
there is an event, planned, we've been putting it together, we got a couple weeks on that, she wants to do. That, we're gonna have, kind of like an exercise, a full scale exercise, emergency responders, but don't know anything about closing the street.
Is it necessary to close the street off in front of the Civic Center for this event? Would you know?
My part in this thing is not, doesn't have anything to do with that, so that's, I don't remember that being discussed, but we can find out, pretty quick.
What day of the week is this? Saturday?
we got to.
13th of February.
This is the all-day event.
It's from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
She's including vendors, so I guess they're wanting to set up.
Can you see maybe Jane can come to the next meeting and
That's on
explain
Saturday, Saturday in February.
Yeah, I like Jason's idea, maybe table this and get Jane to come.
Okay,
to
let's
the meeting
table
next week.
this, and we've got plenty of time, but we'll ask her if she could come and share this information with us, and then we'll make a decision then. Is there any old business to come before the council? Any old business? All right, you have the financials before you. Now, this is the financials for November the 24th meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the general fund financial?
Mayor,
October finance.
Oh, it's okay. October. Okay,
That we was approved at the November 24th meeting that was canceled.
thank you. Always a month behind. A lot of bookwork involved in this, a lot of bookwork. All right, you've had time to review that. We have a motion to adopt the general fund financial. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all right, any discussion? I want you to know that we post these financials on our website. I want the public to know that you can go to our website. I will get this to our webmaster tomorrow, and he'll get it up as soon as he can. You can go and review this as a citizen. All right, we have a motion, second. All those in favor of adopting our general, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, council. All right, so we have the Park and Recreation financial. I have a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second. Second, is there any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor of approving our Park and Recreation financial, say aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Let's get right into our reporting. I know one thing I'm excited about, the Fayette County High School Tigers are playing for the state championship this Friday at 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, they defeated Cordova. Cordova was undefeated, and they went in there and they whipped their, you know what, 32-0. So Fayette will play Leeds at 11 o'clock at Bryant Denny Stadium and for the state 3A championship. There will be a pep rally Thursday.
4A.
4A, okay. We move around so much, 3A, 4A. 4A state championship. There's going to be a pep rally Thursday at the stadium at 1:30. That's a community pep rally. I wanted to announce that. Christmas parade is next Monday, December the 7th. The lineup is at 4:30 up at the old shopping center. I want to remind you, Christmas in the Park. Miss Doris wanted me to remind you that the Vernon radio station is going to be over here December the 17th to do a live remote from the park, a 2-hour live remote. And then I want you to know that we received a $3,500 donation, anonymous donation to the park to be used on our Lazy River pavement. A $3,500 donation, anonymous. And then the Fayette Community Foundation met 2 weeks ago, and they did approve the $20,000 grant for the Lazy River pavement. And I believe that's all that I have to report. Ms. Clapp, do you have?
No, sir, I don't have anything tonight.
All right. Council Lady McCraw.
Just a couple of things. They have changed the deadline for the basketball sign-up would have been Friday, but since the ball game, the deadline will be noon on Thursday. And Chris asked me to announce that he had attended an athletic business conference in New Orleans last week, and he attended all the classes pertaining to the aquatic center, and he's got a lot of new, fresh ideas to use this summer when we start back up there. And I would also like to say a few words about the Fayette football team. And this team has done a lot, and we should be very proud. This is a proud thing for the city of Fayette. And they've played with a lot of heart this year. This is not the best team they've ever had by far, and they've played with a lot of heart, and it's just an honor to make it this far. And I would like to see us make a donation to help them pay for all their expenses that they've had. And I'd like to ask that we would give them $1,500.
Do you want to make that in the form
I
of
would
a
like to
motion?
make that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second to that motion? Second. Or is there any discussion?
All right, last time we did this, we got called by the band, and then we made another donation. So how do we want to go about this? Not opposed to helping them out, but who all do we want, because we're going to get that call after.
We're gonna get that done.
I'm just asking for the football team. I had her to go back and look last time. We couldn't see where we made a donation to the band. If they call and ask for it, we'll just have to vote on it. This is for buses and food and all that sort of thing, and I'm just asking for the football team.
Any more discussion?
One more, will this come out of the, well, never mind.
It can come out of the cigarette fund, tax fund. I mean, that's what we use that for park and recreation.
They will be going to spend the night on Thursday night, and I know it's close, but they put a lot of money into putting this on in Tuscaloosa, and they expect the teams to come down there and spend at least one night and put some money in the economy of Tuscaloosa.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor of approving the donation to the football team, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, that's passes. Do you have anything?
That's all.
Councilman Hart.
Dwayne, we got any street department news we need to spread or talk about?
No, sir.
Everything's functioning well.
Thank you, right now. We're a little behind on the lead, but we're getting there.
No news is good news, that's all I have.
Okay, Councilman Callum.
I've had enough fun for the night, but all jokes aside, I want to say something. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate us being able to have good, thorough discussion. That's what this is all about. And for the professionalism of everybody up here to discuss what are serious potential changes that probably won't happen. But it's good to have discussion sometimes. It's good to have discussion. So that's all I have. Sanitation's doing well. Garbage trucks are running fine.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson?
Yes, no more than basically what Jason say, appreciate the crowd, one of the biggest crowds that we have had, and it was good, you all participated in it. And again, go Tigers.
Councilman Brand?
No, I haven't had anything.
Okay. Councilman Brand has had back surgery, and his back's healing up, and we're glad to hear that he's able to get out a little bit. Is there any other business to come before the council? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
The second? Second. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. All right, meeting adjourned.